welcome back to my channel, Samantha Thomas, and this is part two of the Teal Swan series that I've started. Please look at part one. It's already up. I don't know how many parts this will be because I'm doing this as I go on, but it's quite big, so I would imagine it's quite lengthy, and I'm trying to keep the video short, just for ease. So this is part two, and we're going to look at start to look into Teal's early life. So Teal Swan, born Mary Teal Bosworth to the Bosworths, was born in 1984 on June 16th in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and her parents are commonly referred to as the Bosworths. She describes her parents as animal lovers with insane work ethics, and that's taken from Teal's website, Teal's blog, What Your Parents Did Right. Quite an interesting read. And these are some excerpts from that blog. Neither of my parents ever stood in my way if I wanted something. My mother was an activist. She refused to have us grow up ignorant. My mother comes from an intellectual family, which I see this as distancing language because it's like she doesn't refer to it as her family or her extended families. My mother comes from an intellectual family, which is for me a very strange way to put things. She is also a feminist. She congratulated me for my strong opinions. My father comes from a diplomatic family. He inherited a real talent and skill for oration. My father is an incredible skier and used to be a competitive ski racer. So if you know anything about Teal Swan at all, you will know that she has claimed to be on the national or international or Olympic ski team, whichever one it was. Now from here, this is where we're going to focus that again. This is Teal's early life. So he put me on skis when I was 2 years old. I went on to become a professional skier. So I looked into this because that's what she claimed. That's her words. I went on to become a professional skier. So the definition of professional is to be earning money from that particular thing as a primary income. There's no evidence of this. There's no evidence that this ever happened. In fact, when I went and researched this and tried to look up evidence for this, what I found was a comment from the dev team, which she was on in Utah. And he's a rep of Telemark Ski Association. Turns out he's been, I looked into this rep as I go on. It'll explain more, but he's been on within that company for nearly a decade. And this is what he wrote back in an email exchange to someone who asked him about Teal's skiing career. So he writes, she was on the dev team and did not do very well. She was on it for 1 year and did not produce. Then when asked for help, dropped off the face of the earth. She was not fourth in championships ever, as she has claimed. She needed a lot of work. She never trained from 7 a.m. to 4:30, as claimed. I was president at the time. She was on the dev team. No fourth place, as Teal claims. No placement at all. She was on the dev team for 1 year. Carry on. And this is all verified via an email exchange between researchers at the tealswanblog.wordpress.com. If you want to go and have a look at that, feel free. The guy in the email exchange was Christopher Director of Business Development at the United States Telemark Ski Association, where he's cited to have served as president for almost a decade in the early 2000s. So at the time Teal is saying that this is a thing, he was definitely there. So the sources for this are the freeheellife.libsyn.com, tealswanblog.wordpress.com. So you can go and have a look at them for yourself, but I shall leave those details in the description as well, so you've got the easy links. So just to wrap up just this tiny bit before I go on to more of her childhood in another, or her claims of childhood events in the next video. It's pretty obvious. Teal was never paid to ski. She did not qualify to compete and therefore could never have been a professional skier, as she states in her own blog. She states in her own blog. That's key because that comes out now as a definitive lie. So that blog is on tealswan.com blog. What your parents did right. It's quite a long blog, so you have to scroll down a little bit to get to that section, but it's quite an interesting read. So on the next episode on Mary Teal Bosworth, which is as she was born, I'm going to share some information on Teal's self-claimed extrasensory abilities and how her parents have facilitated this idea. And what potential rationale from a psychiatric or developmental point of view can explain such a belief. The note for this is I've done the research on this already. So again, I'll be using that research, and I'll be using clips from that research live in my next video to back up what I'm saying there, because I don't just want to say things to be disagreeable on with no real evidence, because that seems unfair. But that's where we are so far. So we've covered an introduction to Teal Swan, which is where she is now with regards to, kind of her social media and her business empire growing. And now we're starting right at the beginning from early Teal, childhood Teal. And this is as young as 2-year-old, because she says she was put on skis at 2-year-old by her father. So that's one little snippet of that story. Again, next week I shall cover a little bit more, and it'll be more around her her self-claimed sensory abilities and whether there's any credence to that. So please join me then, and thank you for watching. Take care.